Uh, Call the order here. First, I have to read by law all this information. This was instituted during the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to the declaration of emergency, this meeting is being held pursuant to the authorization from the governor's executive orders. Some or all of the city council members may participate in this meeting by teleconference as authorized by Executive Order N-29-20, issued by the Governor of California on March 17, 2020. Until further notice, there will be no public access to city council meetings. However, public participation is available in the following ways. Number one, members of the public are encouraged to watch the open session portion of the meeting via live stream at 3 p.m. at https://www.communityspectrum.org/ or via the Calexico City Hall Facebook page at https://www.facebook.com/City of Calexico CA/ capital CA. 2. You may also join the open session portion of the meeting via GoToMeeting from your computer, tablet, or smartphone at 3 p.m. at https://global.gotomeeting.com/join/46633471. You can also dial in using your phone at 3 p.m. United States toll-free 1-866-899-4679. United States +1 646-749-3117. Access code is 933-547-781. Members of the public are encouraged to forward any public comments by 2:30 p.m. on Thursday, May 21st, 2020. Okay. So, we have called to order. May we have roll call now?
Mayor Bill Hodge.
Here.
Mayor Pro Temp David Romero. Not here. Council Member Rosie Arriola Fernandez.
Here.
Council Member Morris Risen. Not here. Council Member Luis Pacheco.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any public comments?
We have a comment for item number 1.
Item number 1. Okay, we'll do that when we get to item number 1. All right, special session agenda. And it's approximately, we're starting late, 3:17. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I'll lead you. Okay, this way now. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the mission statement, I'll begin this time. Together, we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. Viva Calexico. Remain standing. Okay, I guess I can try to do the invocation. Please bow your head. Dear Lord, thy will be done. May you take us under your shadow and protect us and guide us towards these very troubling times. May you help us as a city council to move forward and to be strong and diligent and be ethical and do the right thing, our Lord. May you protect our families and the families of all others during this troubling time. In the name of the Lord, amen. All right. We don't have closed session announcements. We have closed session. Is there approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Pacheco. All right, we'll take an individual roll call.
Aye.
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 All right, time for announcements. The approve of the agenda passes unanimously, 3-0. Announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on the City of Calexico website at www.calexico.ca.gov the Friday following the City Council meeting. Community office hours with Mayor Hodge have been suspended due to the coronavirus COVID-19. Community hours will resume at a later date. The hours are from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at City Hall in the City Manager's Conference Room at 608 Heber Avenue, Calexico. Okay. And again, I ask, we have no public comments before the items, so we will move right on to discussion items. Number 1 is presentation by Acting Recreation Manager Geraldo on the Recreation Department's proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2020 to July 30th, 2021. And before you start, and thank you, we do have a public comment for item number 1. Okay.
This is from Carmen Durazo. Esteemed Mayor and members of the City Council, our Cultural Arts Center has been in existence for 12 years, yet it has never had its own separate budget. Please consider supporting a budget specifically for the center and its programs for the upcoming fiscal year to improve the quality of life for our residents through the arts and cultural offerings. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, administrators, and members of the public that are watching from home. My name is Norma Gerardo, and I'm Acting Recreation Manager. It is a pleasure for me to be here in front of you representing our Recreation Department. Let me introduce you to your staff. Oh. Does it work? Okay, let me give it a try. Nope. Would you be able to, thank you, Martha. Technical difficulties as usual. Okay, so let me introduce you to your staff. We have 3 positions, full-time positions at Recreation. We have 3 wonderful ladies that are very committed to the Recreation Department, have been there for years. I want to take a moment to thank our staff, to congratulate them, and just to praise them, because they're really wonderful. It's only 3 people, and they're able to do so much, so many programs, so many activities led by only 3 people in the whole department. So thank you very much to our staff. You may ask yourself, what is it that we're doing right now? Rest assured, our recreation department has been very active right now with COVID. We are having a few programmings. We have 6 things going on a weekly basis. So far, we've had 68 online sessions through Facebook Live, and we've had in those 68 sessions, as of last week, 64,500 views. We've reached 116,000 people with those 68 videos. We are being watched everywhere, Washington, Brazil. I mean, it's a large worldwide views that we get. Thank you. Now, that's because of COVID, but what do we usually do? So we have a lot of things going on during a normal year. And believe me, there could be more, but I just ran out of space for hexagons in there. So I had to leave a few out. But those are some of the things that we offer in a normal year. Very active, children, adult, senior programming. Yes. What better way to show you recreation? I know that you've heard numbers in previous years. I can give you statistics, I can give you budgets, I can give you numbers and percentages, but what better way to show you recreation than to show you recreation? That is a brief history of last year and this year of programming at Recreation. As you can see, there's a lot going on, and those 3 people wouldn't be able to handle it. In fact, those 3 people do not impart classes. They're the coordinators. They're the facilitators. They're not instructors. They do not know karate. They do not know Tai Chi. They're just facilitating the programs. Remember all those hexagons. Those hexagons are not through our staff. They're not taught by our staff. We need temporary staff for that. That's the only way we can hold programs. We can coordinate and organize as much as we want, but at the end of the day, if we do not have a budget, enough budget on temporary staffing, there's not much we can do. This year, what we realized this year, now that the department has been divided and monies have to be kept where they should be within each division, is that our temporary staffing monies are not enough. We would have not been able to finish the fiscal year for this year. We run out of money really, really early starting this year. Next slide. Now, do we actually need more? Do we need to keep it? Well, you can see I have 2 years for you, 2 graphs, 2018, 11,000 plus, and 2019, 14,000 plus. There's a difference of 3,000 participants in a year. So, of course, we're seeing a curve going up. So there is a need. People want their children to be involved. Adults want to keep healthy. Seniors want their health well. They want to learn about nutrition. They want to keep active, and they also want to socialize. So let's talk about the numbers. We can come up with figures. I try to be as specific as I could be, giving you a good side of what we spent and how we spend it. We have usually an 8-week summer program. It is divided into instructors and rec leaders. Instructors, of course, are instructors for classes. Rec leaders are the facilitators, or the ones who monitor children when we have summer camps, when we have day camps, whenever we have gym activities at the gym, at the high school gym. For all that, all the special events at parks, we need a lot of rec leaders to handle such a big crowd. So when you add all what we spent on 8-week summer program for instructors and rec leaders, we come up only for the summer with a 23,000 figure. Now, what about the regular year from September to May? That is the breakdown. Again, it's divided into 2 parts, the instructors and the rec leaders. When you add both, and this is just to have what we had this year. This is not adding any more programs. It is just to have what we offered this year. So when we add the instructors and the rec leaders for the regular year, we come up with hold on, let me see where I am. 23. And then if we add the summer, then it comes up to $56,000. So year-round, summer and regular year, it's about $66,000. We are budgeted for 45. And again, this is only to hold the same amount of programming, not adding any other new service. There's a difference of $11,000. Let's take a minute to think about hall rentals. This year, we stopped renting the halls. And the question that we put ourselves here should be, are we going to continue renting the hall or not? If we rented, last year, we rented it 81 times, and we brought up a revenue of $30,000 plus dollars. But it comes with expenses. What expenses? And those are direct expenses from renting the halls. We need a temporary staff once more, again. We need a temp staff to prep the halls and to clean the halls after a rental. To prep, what is prepping the hall? After an activity, let's say it's a Friday night or Thursday night, and we had yoga at 9 p.m., no one takes care of the bathrooms, right? All staff is gone. And let's say we're gonna have a rental the next day on Saturday. That staff person comes and makes sure the halls are clean, ready to be rented, restrooms are clean and well stocked. Then after the rentals, this staff member has to come back and clean the halls again.
When we rent the halls, is there a fee for
Cleaning there is.
bathrooms?
Correct, but everything goes into the revenue account. So from the $30,000 that we bring in revenue just for renting the hall, we don't get anything. We may not use those monies. That goes into the pot, right? So it has to be budgeted for us to be able to have that expense. So what do we spend on that person cleaning and being on call for rentals? It's 13,000 plus dollars. There's still some revenue. Once you do the math, there's 30 in revenue, 13 in expenses. Problem is that we're not budgeted for more monies. We have to pay with a temp staffing budget that we have for instructors. It is only one account. So we only have 45 for temps staffing, which are not even enough for instructors and the rec leaders. And now we have to spend money for a person to get the halls ready and clean the halls ready for another 13 plus.
So what you're saying is, this has been done for years and years and years.
Correct.
So now this just came up, that they were losing money in the rentals? Is that what I'm hearing?
We're not losing money in the rentals. We still have that revenue coming in. It's just a matter of having the budget on our rec budget to be able to cover for the expenses for the hall rentals. It is just one line item. Temporary staff, it is one line item, and it has to cover for instructors, rec leaders, and a cleaning person.
Okay, I know that the Heffernan District is providing for the seniors or whatever it is. So where is that money going to?
So all those are for programming for seniors, and we have a bunch, health fairs, and all that is covered for the seniors. The recreation hall rentals are from the public. So it's not a program, it's a service that we're giving to the community to be able to rent a place here in Calexico to hold private events. And as part of the Heffernan Memorial, we use those monies to pay. So those instructors and those monies are not, they are not reflecting the instructors for the seniors. That is just for the children and adults.
Mr. Gerardo, when
Yes.
there's a class that opens, like I want to say Zumba or Karate, the fee that we charge the participant is only to pay the instructor?
No, once again, it goes to the revenues account. We cannot use that money to pay for the instructor. It comes out of the temporary staff budget. So all, yes,
Go ahead.
Just to get back to you, Ms. Fernandez, for the senior program, the government does give us money, but that's such a nation account, this is not general fund.
Oh.
So the revenue and the expenses go to a donations account, and that's how it gets paid. Both the temp staff and the revenue are recorded on a separate one because that is such a nation, and that's how it skews. So government memorial is separate, the rest of the stuff, all the regular programming goes out of general fund. So we do get some revenues, and same for the rentals, as much as it is for the classes we do charge. We do not charge for all of the classes that we are providing. So it's all recorded as revenue, but again, since this is general fund, it's one big pot for all of us. It's not only paying for recreation, it's paying for all the admin services that we provide, for finance, for payroll, for city manager.
Yeah.
All the other departments. So government memorials kept separately, and same if they are any other donations that come in from recreation, library, or any other department, they're kept separate. That's a different fund. And those go on the operational funds. That's the 222s that you've seen on the proposed budget. So that's how they're kept.
Okay.
Funds are kept separately, and that's the way they should be because they were very specific as to what they are to be used for. So we keep them separate. We spend it for the purpose that they were given to us, and same for the expenses.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lovatos.
The rental of the senior for the feeding of the seniors through the Catholic charities?
Yes,
We charge them monthly 1,100.
Correct.
1,000, and that's for them to come in and serve the folks their lunch.
that's correct.
So those that are already Zumba, y nomás
They stay in for lunch.
Le siguen, they walk right over.
Right.
And get their nice meal. That only covers.
That is
the whole
also
year? It's the whole year that they rent? So
correct. Correct, and it goes into the pot. Yes.
Okay, what's the problem with the pot? I mean, the money goes in the pot, but then it's pulled out and allocated for different programs?
Yes.
I mean, it's used, right?
Ms. Lovatos, if you want to chime in.
I'm a little confused.
thank you. So the monies that are received for regular programming, all those revenues go into general fund.
In the general
So
fund.
they are recorded under recreation, but if you were to look at the revenues recreation is bringing in, it's not enough to cover even their expenses. But that goes for most of the departments. Revenues are not equal to the expenses they have. Usually expenses are larger than. And that's where we have the problem, and that's why we have to balance our budget. Because not only do they have to cover their expenses, they have to cover for all the admin expenses or added costs that we have. So it's not only the temp staff, there's electricity, there's water, there's other added expenses that they have. So the revenues again are recorded under the recreation department, but it is at the end of the day general fund.
General fund, thank you.
So, food for thought. Yes, I'm sorry. Council- Oh, you're still processing the information. So we have two decisions here. Do you want us to continue renting the halls? If you do, then please provide us with enough temporary staff budget just for that, which will be around $13,000, not including what we were off for instructors and rec leaders. So that this is separately. This is $13,000. Those are direct expenses from renting the halls. Any other questions before we move on?
Well, I'm a little confused here because when you rent the hall, there's a fee for cleaning.
Yes.
So you're saying that's going elsewhere, okay?
Yes.
So what you're saying here, how are you doing it now? You're asking for to hire temporary staff for the cleaning? Is that what you're suggesting on here?
It would be to increase the amount of the budget for temporary staff. We already have a person who retrained to do that. It's just that we ran out of money. We have to cover for the instructors. We have to cover for the rec leaders. And now we have to cover for renting the halls. Again, we stopped renting the halls a few months back. And now with COVID, well, we don't have that problem. But you need to think whether you want to continue making the halls available to the community for rentals, for private rentals. Yes and no. And if it's a yes, then please provide us just with for the direct expenses that we have.
When you minus the expenses.
We
and
still bring-
revenue, There's
still 15,000
some
plus.
revenue
Yes.
that goes into the general fund.
Correct.
So if we didn't have the rentals, we would lose that revenue.
Correct. Yes, Martha, thank you. So our request, and again, there's a lot of things that I could be requesting. There's all the facilities citywide need upgrades, and a few things are not working and whatnot, but our request for this year would be to increase temporary staffing. If no halls rentals, then to increase by 11,300. This will allow us to implement last year's programs and services. With hall rentals, then it will be an increase of 24,000 plus, so that we're able to cover also the direct expenses related to rental the halls. So I'm sorry, yes,
This one didn't have the use of the summer pool.
that
They
is
didn't have that,
separate.
because that would have been a bigger,
Correct.
another,
Yes, yes. Yes.
What are we gonna do about the summer pool?
Okay, so I've been in contact with the school district and Heffernan Memorial. Heffernan Memorial was willing to hear our proposal for this year for the pool program. It is the school district, the one that has the upper hand. We're waiting for them to make a decision. I was told that it was probably not in favor just because of COVID. They're not even open for education-wise, so
Right.
they just don't foresee opening the pool for anything. But it's still being discussed. It is not set on stone. We're just waiting for. We're just waiting for news.
Help my memory, who's paid for the maintenance in the past? Which entity is it?
It's-
not been the city, right?
It is, yes. We get a grant from Heffernan Memorial.
Okay, it's
Yes, and then there's some expenses that recreation will absorb. We need a pool monitor that will be absorbed by recreation. We also do about 3 pool nights, Friday nights programs, in which we contract a DJ and we buy a few prizes for games near the pool. So that is also an expense, and rec leaders that will help with the activity. So those will be absorbed by the city. And the actual cleaning of the pool, the maintenance, and the instructors are paid through a grant by Heffernan Memorial. Yes? No? Thank you. Yes. So a new addition to our department would be the Carmen Durazo Cultural Arts Center. There's a few new things. We, for the first time, have a budget of our own. It has a separate budget, and from July of last year to now, we've had art and history painting classes for children during the summer, art exhibits, distinguished artist wall leaf unveilings, paint nights for adults, and recently our AC units were replaced. Yes?
Carmen Durazo indicated that it had not had a budget. Now it has a budget.
Correct.
That's a real plus.
Yes.
Okay.
We're very excited to have a budget. Now, what do we need for the Carmen Durazo Cultural Arts Center? Well, now with the division and yesterday's approval by this council, now there's going to be an art assistant for the center, a part-time person that will be able to program and coordinate programs. But what is that person going to do without, once again, temporary staffing monies? So again, this will be just a program coordinator, not the person that would be our city staff. Part-time city staff, but it's not a music instructor or a drama instructor. They're just facilitating the programs. So what we need, recreational programs for the Cultural Arts Center, we were budgeted $1,200. We're requesting $4,000. That is to cover expenses for supplies, running various art classes, exhibits, special events, those kinds of programming. And temporary staffing, we have a budget of $7,800 for temporary staffing. That will be our instructors. We're requesting $20,000, and that's for qualified instructors on the different genres. So below you have a little chart. We are estimating an hourly rate of $50. What we foresee for the center would be for something in the intermediate. We can have the basic skills done at the community center, music, basic music, guitar, and then let's call it graduating to the Cultural Arts Center for more intermediate. That would mean a higher hourly rate than our usual basic instructors. So if the world would be perfect, at least we would like to start with 4 genres: music, art, dance, and performing arts. And for a yearly cost of around $20,800, that's how we come up with a $28,000. So a budget difference between the recreational programs and the temporary staff is $15,000 plus dollars. So that's the budget difference for this center.
Okay, did we get any income from the rentals?
We do when we rent it, yes. And if it's a nonprofit, it's free the first time, and then a rental fee of $200, and then for normal rentals, it's $500.
So, for this upcoming year, again, I'm sorry, what is it budgeted for? Is it 20,000?
For those 2 items, we have set up for recreational programs, we have $1,200, and for temporary staffing, it's $7,800. What we are requesting, it's $4,000 for programs and $20,800 for temporary staffing. That makes a difference of $15,800, an increase to our budget of $15,000, just to cover for a few classes, just to not have a building without any programs. Yeah. This concludes my presentation to you, Honorable Council, Honorable Mayor and council members. Not sure if you have any other questions that I may be able to answer.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? No?
I think we need to look at how we are putting the money into this, and it's just one designated for different programs, so maybe we need to do something with the budgeting and, I don't know, I know there's no money, but
At least structure it.
okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Haddad. Excellent. Okay, moving right along. We're going to skip 2 and go to 3. Presentation by Public Works Manager Falomir on the Public Works Department's proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, as well as staff that are here present and those watching. My name is Lily Falomir, and I'm the Public Works Manager for the Public Works Department. The Public Works Department is composed of 13 divisions, which is Public Works Administration, Engineering, Fleet and Equipment Maintenance, Park Maintenance, Facility Maintenance, Streets, the Calexico International Airport, Transit, Solid Waste, Water Treatment Plant, Water Distribution, Wastewater Treatment Plant, Wastewater Collection, as well as we take care of approximately 90% of our capital improvement program. The Public Works Administration, we are responsible for providing and maintaining and making sure that our city infrastructure is up to date. We also do a lot of grant writing. We request funding for whether it's street projects, parks and recreation, and other available grant opportunities that are out there, as well as we coordinate with agencies from the federal, from the state. We make sure that all of our facilities are in compliance. Our Public Works Administration organizational chart, as I said, we oversee Public Works, and in the Public Works Administration Department, we have myself as well as our executive assistant, our project inspector, and our engineering technician. Our budget alone from the Public Works Administration, portion of it comes out through the general fund. The amounts that are present in these charts are from the general fund. We have the salary and benefits, the material and supplies, repair, and so forth. What I come before City Council is to request additional funding of approximately $61,000 to hire 1 associate civil engineer, 1 project coordinator, and also if I am able to hire those individuals, purchase some computers for them, as well as lease some vehicles. Like I previously mentioned, 90% of the capital improvement programs are in the Public Works Department, so I really need assistance for me to make sure those projects are in the design phase, or engineering design phase, and also in the construction. Right now, the salaries may be low on this spreadsheet, and it's because I'm just proposing a 20% of the salaries of the associate civil engineer and project coordinator to come out to the general fund. In my later presentations, you'll see that I'm requesting 40% of their salary to come out from the water enterprise fund as well as the wastewater treatment fund.
We need a vehicle out there, Miss.
Well, yes, I go to different meetings, go to San Diego, go to El Centro, so if we are able to get an associate civil engineer, a project coordinator, they will also need a vehicle. We currently, our Public Works Department lease our vehicles. We have a leasing program with Enterprise Fleet Management, so the portion of the $7,200 is just for 1 year lease. Plus, the project coordinator and the associate civil engineer will also need to go out there and physically to the projects and do the inspections. So they do need transportation. The next division is our fleet and equipment maintenance. Our fleet and equipment maintenance division provides preventative maintenance to our vehicles. The city has approximately 110 vehicles as well as equipment. Our fleet divisions also goes out and does transport the vehicles. For example, some of the police vehicles are under warranty, so they have to take them over to the dealership to make sure, that they get the maintenance, or they are able to fix what is wrong with them, and then they have to go back and pick them up. So there's a lot of transportation as well as repairing within the city shop. The fleet division provides maintenance to approximately 20 vehicles a week. Vehicles as well as equipment, backhoes, loaders, pressure washers, and all of those vehicles that we have. We have the organizational chart at our fleet division. We have our supervisor of fleet maintenance, as well as 2 mechanics and 1 mechanic, 1/service advisor. For the fleet and equipment maintenance division, I am asking an additional $25,000 for the purchase of a tire mount machine. We recently got an inspection from our public safety consultant, and he determined that it was time for us to not use it. So if we need any type of tire repairs, we have to contract it out or take it over to another tire shop, because the machine is not safe for our employees and we don't want them to get hurt. Also, I am requesting shop tools, storage boxes, as well as lease a vehicle. Our vehicles that are in the general fund are more than 10 years old. We have had deficits for several years now, and we have not been able to provide our employees the adequate equipment for them to do their job. I'm also requesting an additional funding within the $2,000 to dispose of a lot of the hazard materials that we have on site. We need to bring the disposal hazardous waste consultants to come and pick them up, because if we keep them for so long, then the city is fined by Coupa and the Department of Toxics and Substance. So for this reason, I am requesting an additional $2,000 plus, the capital outlay of buying tools, leasing vehicles, $23,000 for a total of $25,000. Our Parks and Maintenance Division provides maintenance to city parks, green areas, baseball fields, public restrooms. The city currently has approximately 22 parks with a total of 60 acres, as well as 122 acres of open space, which are the green areas, retention basins, and so forth.
I have this from the other week. I'm concerned about parks. You have under objectives, 5 objectives. And eliminate all brown spots, install automatic sprinkler systems, tree inspection, develop a formal park inspection program, address the homeless in parks. Out of those objectives, are we meeting all of those objectives on any kind of level, or because of funding, a lot of these objectives are being neglected?
Parks is all general fund, and unfortunately, we're not meeting those, and I will come back to those points in a couple of slides.
Okay.
Our Parks Maintenance Division organizational chart, as you see, I have a supervisor that does 50% parks as well as 50% streets. I only have 1 crew leader, and I only have 4 permanent part-time employees. Those 4 permanent part-time employees are only able to, or only work 72 hours every 2 weeks. The budget for our park maintenance division, as you can see, it's $412,450. Out of those 412, in actual, is only 152 is for materials, repairs, professional services, and admin cost. What I am requesting tonight, or this evening, is 2 additional permanent part-time employees. The reason that I'm requesting 2 additional part-time employees is that we do contract out our temporary employees, but they're only allowed to put in 1,000 hours. So once they put in that 1,000 hours, we need to let them go and get somebody else and then retrain them. And then we go through the process. Once that employee's already trained, we need to let them go because they can't go over the 1,000 hours. Also, I'm requesting additional funding for the installation of irrigations at Canal Street between Edie Avenue and V.V. Williams. I know that council has previously asked me, or asked our department to do some type of grass or landscaping. Unfortunately, with the only, if you take away the salary and benefits from the Parks Division, I only get $152,000 a year. We cannot do much. Also, I put in a couple of funding for repair of lighting in parks. We get that a lot of requests. Park lights are out, it's not safe, we're putting our community in danger. Recently, in the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of vandalism in our public restrooms, especially here behind us at Rockwood Park, as well as Nosotros Park. Once a week, we're constantly told that they're clogged up. Unfortunately, there's some people that go into our restrooms and put in shirts, put in drug paraphernalia, so we have to go and unclog the restrooms. There's been situations where even they steal the sinks, they damage our property, and that all comes out from the general fund. Also, again, because we have had deficits in several years, we haven't been able to replace the lawnmowers, the weed eaters. Sometimes when a lawnmower is broken, we try to see if we can't get parts, and we're constantly repairing them. So that's why I also requested additional funding to purchase that so our employees can go out there, perform their job in a safe manner. Again, the vehicles, they're over 10 years old. Our vehicles in our general fund, and especially in the parks, at least if I can lease another 2 vehicles, a service truck and a regular truck, so our employees can continue performing their duties.
So currently we have 4 part-timers doing the parks.
Yes, I would like to, also, because we only have 4, I would like to add an additional, so I can make a crew of 3 and 3, and they can go out there and,
Go to town.
yes.
Yes.
We do have a schedule of, which parks are done Mondays and Tuesdays, but I don't have the personnel to do it, so sometimes we have to do 1 week yes or 1 week no.
Okie dokie.
Our next division is the Facility Maintenance Division. And our Facility Division provides maintenance and support to city facilities, which is, they don't do janitorial services. They just do, for example, if the light fixture needs to be changed, or if they're having issues with the ACs, or if they need to replace or having plumbing issues, then the facility department comes into those facilities. The organizational chart of that facilities is only just 1 building maintenance worker.
I'm sorry, we're taking care of el consulado?
Yes, part of their agreement is that we take care of, like, for example, if they have problems with the ACs or light fixtures, their agreement is, they're taking care of the irrigation system. But the building itself, for example, they also have a chair wheel lifter, and if If it doesn't work, then we have to call a company to come and fix it. So we do the major maintenance repairs of the building. It's part of the contract.
Part of their lease, part of the contract?
Yes, part of their lease.
Wow.
So for the facility maintenance division, I am requesting an additional $88,000, and that's to see if I can get another building maintenance worker. We only have one, and he's constantly here at City Hall, or, we get calls from the fire station 1, 2, that they have plumbing issues, electrical issues. A lot of the city facilities, as Norma, I believe, explained, they already need a little TLC. As you see, even the council chambers, we need to do a little fixing on some items. So, we can't, I know in addition also our building maintenance worker, he's also a part of our graffiti abatement program. So we get a list of if there's any type of graffiti in the restrooms. The other day, the library contacted us that they found some graffiti, so then he goes out there and paints it. So for that reason, I am requesting an additional employee for that division. Also, we need to provide him the equipment to do his work, and also a vehicle to do it. As for our streets division, we provide maintenance to city streets, curb, gutters, sidewalks, alleys. We regulate the signage. We do the striping, the painting, repairing potholes. We're also in contact with the IID regarding the street lights. Effective on January 1st of this year, Republic Services took over the street sweeping services, so the city staff is no longer doing it. Republic Services is doing the street sweeping.
Great.
For our streets department, their organizational chart is I have the supervisor, which again, he's 50%. I have one painter, one heavy equipment operator, one electrician, one labor, and 4 permanent part-time laborers. The streets division, the funding for it comes out from the gas tax. So this year, we were able to budget the amount correctly, so I'm not requesting any additional funding through the streets division. The next division is our Calexico International Airport. It is designated as an airport of entry by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency. The airport consists of a single runway, encompasses about 257 acres. It is open 7 days a week, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and also after hours if we get any pilots that come after 5 p.m. And also the airport generates its funding by the rental of the hangars as well as the sale of fuel, 100 low-lead and Jet A, as well as tie downs of airports that come in and stay overnight. There is a charge for that. The organizational chart for the airport, I only have one airport coordinator. And we currently have three temporary part-timers, but those temporary part-timers are also contracted out. They're not city employees. And again, we go back to the 1,000 hours. Once they're 1,000 hours, we have to replace them. So for this reason, I come before you to ask for approximately $26,000 to get 2 permanent part-timers, fuel linemen. As you can see on the right side, I estimated about $82,000, but if I'm given 2 permanent part-time employees, then on the contract services side, we will eliminate approximately $60,000 because there will not be a need to contract the service out. And our next divisions are the water treatment plant and the water distribution. Um, The water treatment plant provides the potable water services to residential, commercial, and industrial customers within city limits. The city water system comes from the Colorado River surface water imported 80 miles from the Colorado River by the Imperial Irrigation District through the All-American Canal. It goes into our raw water reservoir that is located on V.V. Williams. And then from there, it is transferred into our water treatment plant where we treat the water and then distribute it to our community. We have a 6 million and a 4 million water tank at our water treatment plant, and then we have a 6 million water tank over on the east side by Bowker and Cole. As for our water treatment plant, well, we have the wastewater treatment supervisor, we have one chief operator, one operator lead, and then we have our water operators grade 3, as well as water operator grade 2, and then 3 laborers. And the water treatment plant is operated 24/7. As for our water distribution, we have also our water system supervisor that works 50% for them. We have a vacant position right now, which is the operator lead. Then we have our two water distributions grade 2, 2 water distributions, actually 3 water distributions grade 1, and then we have our meter reader. And for the budget of the water treatment and water distribution, I am asking for an additional $98,000 to pay for 40% of the salary and benefits for our associate civil engineer and our project coordinator. Well, for our wastewater treatment plant and collection system, we operate our own. It is located at 298 West 2nd Street. Right now, we are currently, our average daily flow capacity is 4.3 million gallons per day. Our peak daily flow capacity is 5.5 million. We are going through the wastewater treatment plant expansion and design. It is over a $30 million project. Currently is in the design phase, and it's about 95% completed. And I believe last night, council approved the wastewater financing bond. The organizational chart, we have our wastewater system supervisor, as well as our 4 wastewater operators grade 2. We have our laboratory technician, we have an electrician, a building maintenance worker, as well as 2 laborers. And for our collection side, we have again the supervisor, the wastewater system supervisor, 3 wastewater collection operators, and then we have also an electrician. For their budget, I am asking for 40% of the salary and benefits for the associate civil engineer and project coordinator. 90% of the capital improvement program belongs to the water, the wastewater, and the streets division. So for the streets division, we are proposing 9 projects with a total of $16 million, which would be the completion of Cesar Chavez, the construction of the new river, 2nd Street Bridge widening, downtown street improvements. There is some sidewalks that we need to repair, as well as some street overlay. Last year, we were able to do about 59 streets. I'm currently working on doing these, finishing the specifications for this year, which is approximately 60 to 70 streets that we will be able to accomplish with the Measure D. Cole Road, Weekly Road, and the East Area Facility Plan. For the other projects that we work on, it's the park improvements, Cordova Park. The baseball fields are currently being installed. Heber Park, we received 8.5 million, but for this fiscal year, I'm projecting to just do the 2.9 because we have to go through the design phase, select a contractor, and then do the construction phase. Also, we have bike and ped bench shelter projects that we need to replace, and also make some of them ADA compliant. Also, right now, we are in the design of the airport taxiway rehabilitation project, which will be opening bids next week. So for the streets, for the general fund / other improvement projects, it would be a total of 5.4 million.
We are getting assistance through the ICTC for benches and for,
Yes, ICTC receives funding every year for its Article 3, which is the bicycle and pedestrian. And then we also receive funding for replacement of bus shelters, as well as the maintenance on 3rd and Imperial. That's the bus shelter hub that is used the most. So they provide us an additional $25,000 a year for the maintenance. The chart here is all the water treatment and distribution projects that we are projecting $9.3 million. Our wastewater treatment plant and collection CIP is much higher because it includes the expansion of the wastewater treatment plant and the upgrade. It is about a $30 million project, but we need to cut it in phases. So for for fiscal year 2021, we're projecting $11 million. So I really ask the City Council to consider in providing us the additional funding in the parks and facilities, especially, if we can hire an associate civil engineer and a project coordinator, so we can, be able to start and complete approximately $51 million of CIP projects for fiscal year 2021.
Monies paid for all this come from both general fund and enterprise?
For the associate civil engineer, as well as the project coordinator, I'm recommending that their salary and benefits come 40% from water, 40% from wastewater, and 20% from the general fund. And the reason for the general fund is that having the associate civil engineer, we're not going to go and our plan checking and all of new development that comes in. If that's something that we don't have, staff cannot review, we need to send it out. For fiscal year 1920, the plan checking fees that we paid to consultants were about $10,000. But then when we come to our capital improvement program, when we contract an engineer to come and help us with the plans and specifications, I estimated about $100,000 that we spent. So instead of going out and spending that money, I'd like to see if we can bring him on board, and we can have him here full time, and we can be able to accomplish all those capital improvement programs.
All these different categories and the additional monies you're asking for, where will the monies primarily come from to pay for this?
Well, for the parks, the facility maintenance, and public work admin, it would come through the general fund. But then the 40% would be from wastewater.
I see. Okay. Did you bother to add up all of these?
No, I'm sorry.
It's a lot,
Yeah, it is a lot.
Yes,
Wow.
our
but well needed.
department is, we have a lot of divisions, and we are in need of extra help.
Mayor and council members, we will have a special meeting next week, and I will be presenting all these numbers, and it'll be, at that point, your decision to decide what it is that you want to fund and how we will be funding it. So I will be adding those numbers for you, Lily.
Thank you.
So I'll present all of the proposals, everything that the departments are requesting, and at that time, we will request your recommendation on what is included and how we will be funding it, and at what time we will start funding this, either FTEs or employees' positions, how it would be allocated and any other expenses.
Thank you.
Just remember that Public Works Department provides essential core services, our water and sewer.
Yes.
There are unsung heroes. I know that it's always the first responders and, our police officers, but also Public Works. Due to COVID-19, they have had to continue providing the maintenance plus additional maintenance to our parks, to our bus shelters, and they're out there putting themselves at risk. So,
We have to wash our hands.
yes.
20 seconds. Si no hay agua.
Yes.
Óyeme.
So if any more questions, concerns?
More
Thank you.
questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Mr. Dale, how soon can we get, I know we're almost done with our wastewater, our whatever, our project. How soon can we, it's almost 90% finished, or?
I think the estimate is within 2 months going to bid. I don't know if Lily would agree with that, but that's my
Yes, that's the
We're 2
projected
months, we're 2
schedule.
months away.
Yes.
Yeah, because we have a lot of repairing to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Ms. Palomino.
Yeah,
We have now presentation by Acting Library Manager Legaspi on the library's proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, honorable members of the council, city staff, and those watching us online. I'm Lisa Legaspi. I'm the acting library manager for the library department. The library department is not a department that brings revenue to the city. We do bring a little bit of money in terms of fines and copies of fees for copies, and a few grants that we are able to acquire to augment the programs and services that we provide to the community. But our programs and services enrich the lives of our residents. We provide resources to meet educational, recreational, and informational needs of the community. We promote the lifelong learning and the pursuit of knowledge. We are there to help new parents instill the love of books and reading to their kids, their toddlers and babies, by providing baby times, story times, and 1,000 books before kindergarten, different type of programming, so that we can, again, instill the love of books and learning and lifelong learning. We are there to support schools and those wonderful teachers that bring their classes to the library for a library tour, or they ask us to come to their school so that we can do a library card drive, because they really see the importance of literacy, the importance that literacy plays in their students' lives. So we're working together. It's a win-win situation for both. Obviously, we support the students, whether they're in elementary grade, junior high, high school, all the way to college and beyond. We are there to provide a safe space for a homeless person that obviously doesn't have a place to go. We have a lot of homeless people that spend their days at the library because we are air conditioned. They have books, they have magazines, they can charge their phones, or they can take a nap at the library. We are there for families during the especially during the summer months that cannot pay for private classes or sometimes the recreation programs. Maybe they don't have the monies to pay for those classes. We provide, all of our programmings are free. Many of those families don't have, or maybe they turn off their air conditioning at home during the summer months because, we pay a lot of electricity. So they spend a day at the library. They take advantage of our summer reading program. They take advantage of the snacks that we provide through a partnership with the Calexico Neighborhood House. We also are there for those that don't have a computer at home. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that don't have, or maybe they might have a computer, but they might not have money to pay for the internet service. So we are there to, or maybe they do have a computer at home, but it's more cost effective to take bring their material they want to print and print it at the library, which is cheaper than go and buy ink for their home printer. We're also there for those computer illiterate. There's a lot of people that don't know how to use a computer, they don't know how to navigate the internet, they don't have an email account, and for anything that you do nowadays, you do need to have an email account, and we are there to support those people. We are also there to support those that need to learn or improve their English reading, writing, or speaking skills. And basically, we are there for everyone in our community, regardless of their income or social status. Our services are not limited to Calexico residents. We also provide services for people, the whole valley, and even people from Mexicali. So we have 3 service points. The library department is comprised of the Camarena Memorial Library, the Carnegie Technology Center, and our online presence. Before the pandemic, the library was open 40 to 48 hours a week, and the Carnegie Technology Center 16 hours a week. Our department is, well, every department is different, right? So I want to say my department is very different from all the other departments because we need to have, we're a service, we providing service and programs all day long. So we were open 10 hours a day. So it means that 10 hours a day, we need to have at least 2 people at the front desk or circulation desk ready to help someone that walks into the door that either needs to use a computer, they need to help on how to make a copy, they need to know where to find a specific material. The list goes on and on and on. And at the same time, we have programs going on. So somebody has to be helping someone at the front desk, and then somebody has to set up tables, remove tables, serve the snack, prep for a program, coordinate a program, pick up after a program, go quiet down the kids that are so noisy. We've had a lot of incidents, and we're having to be calling the police department for many different issues. We don't have, obviously, security, so we might have people that are using drugs in the restrooms, kids that are fighting. So the list goes on and on. So I'm sharing all this, so I just want you to have a visual of what is it that we do at the library. The library is not only books. Okay, we're more than just books. And this is the organizational chart of the library. Me as the acting library manager. We have a recent hire, reference librarian, Megan. She's been with us for about 2 weeks. Unfortunately, at yesterday's meeting, we lost the second reference library position that was allocated in the budget, in this current budget, and an executive assistant that was, we didn't have a person at the library, but it was there, so it was hopeful that maybe in the future we were able to hire someone. So then we have Julio, which is an assistant, a library assistant 2, that works as a library assistant 2 and a library assistant 1. So we wear many, many hats. So there's only 3 city staff for the library. We rely very heavily on contract staff. After the pandemic, we had to let go because obviously the city was running out of funds, or potentially was going to be obviously not receiving the same revenue as we were going on steady course. So we had to let go of all the part-time staff, which are contract staff. And luckily, I was able to bring 2, Yvette and Carlos, back through a grant. So that's the staff that we have at the library right now.
Ms. Legaspi, who
Yes.
cleans up and sprays and computers. And
I am so glad that you asked that question.
Since we're short on janitorial,
We do not have a janitor at the library. Before the library closed, we were able to, we have a program that city and so many other departments work with SER for Jobs, and they provide a senior citizen that provided the cleaning. Our senior citizen had 15 hours a week, and obviously, he's being a senior citizen, he cannot perform all the duties that a regular janitor could perform, and he was absent a lot because there were so many life problems at home. So at the moment, I've been going the weekends to clean the library. Obviously, I'm not cleaning the public restrooms because the library is closed, but the staff area needs to be cleaned on at least on a weekly basis. So Julio helps me pick up the trash, but then I go and mop the floors and clean the restrooms and, kind of tidy up a little bit. Yes. So before, okay, I already told you that. So I want to point out that the statistics I'm about to show you, including for the most part, we used to have a director, 2 reference librarians, an executive assistant, a library assistant, and we relied on 6 contract staff. So between July 1st all the way to March 16, which was the last day that we were open, we were able to check out 13,082 materials. We had 14,042 registered library card users. We had about 50,150 people walk into the library for many various reasons, for either attend a program or ask a question or just spend the evening there. We have a wonderful grant program called Zip Books Grant, which has allowed us to fulfill the needs of a book or an audiobook that is for materials that are not currently in the collection. Now during the pandemic, they allow us to request to send books that even we have in the collection, because that was one of the requirements, that if we have it at the library, we cannot zip it to people. You know what, people are not trying to stay home, so we are able to use this program to zip materials. The state librarian is, we might lose the funding because of obviously the state is very impacted by the current situation. But at least for the rest of this fiscal year and next year, we will still have that funding. We were able to add 1,353 library materials to the collection. We issued 103 new library cards, and we were able to provide 4,852 snacks to kids from all ages, from 1 to 18 years of age. Now, traditional library programs offered to the community. Children programs, we are able to offer taller time and crafts and story times and movie screenings. We receive classrooms, school visits, family nights, which are very popular. So we were able, from July 1st all the way to March 16, we were able to offer 139 programs with a total attendance of 3,895. Here are a few pictures of some of the kids visiting the library. We also offer programs for teenagers. You know, teenagers are a very hard population to reach. Not everybody is into reading, and most of the time they're texting and chatting and doing all the Instagramming and stuff. But we were able to offer 8 programs with 197 teens in attendance, and that's really a big number. One of the reasons of this attendance for teenage program we see this increase is because we created a partnership with the MAC Coalition, which is Mothers Against Gangs and Men Against Gang. They were able to bring in 75 teenagers from Enrique Camarena Junior High, and some of them were Calexico High School students, and some of them Willie Moreno Junior High students. They came and they shared what was the last book they read, how those books have impacted their lives, and we treated them for pizza, and each of them took a brand new book home courtesy of the library. So we want to continue fostering the love of books and reading at all ages. We also provide adult programming. We have an active book club for adults called Let's Read. We had 9 programs with 70 adults in attendance. We also offer a conversation class called Let's Talk. That's a weekly meeting for people that want to, there's not many opportunities for people that are learning English, or they know English, but they're afraid of speaking. There's not many opportunities in Calexico to interact with someone else in English. So we provide this space for people to be there, and, they help each other. This program has been led by a volunteer, but that volunteer became our new reference librarian, Megan. So we were able to offer 27 programs with 133 attending. We also provide adult literacy services for those adults that know some English, but they need help reading and writing in English. We recruit tutors. Well, actually, we recruit volunteers, and they become tutors. We teach them how to work the program, and they are able to provide one-on-one tutoring. We were able to provide 194 tutoring sessions, and then there's also a component of an online tutoring component, there was 31 distance learning sessions. The tutor for this program was someone from the Nevada County Library System. But given the current situation, most likely all of our tutoring sessions will have to be online from now on until things get some sort of normal. Yes. So then the pandemic happened, right? All this I shared with you was before, when we were open, the doors were open. So the pandemic happened, and we had to transform. It is very sad, but one of the things that I've noticed is that this has shown us that we are resilient, that we meet challenges, and when we meet a challenge, we find a way to make it work. We find a way to provide a service to the community. At least the Camarena Library, speaking not for the city departments, but other libraries in the valley and across the state. I've sat at many Zoom meetings with librarians from throughout the state of California and some others throughout the country. And many of them are not providing any services at all. They closed the book drops. They're not allowing people to return materials. They're not offering nothing. They're offering absolutely nothing, because obviously this is very scary. But we also scared, but we continue to try to provide something. So our doors might be closed, but our services continue to be open. During this, I want to say it's about 8 weeks that we've been through this pandemic ordeal. We haven't stopped. Bless you. We have not stopped providing curbside services, and our digital presence is more used than ever. So we continue to reinvent ourselves. We have acquired 13 new library users. We have renewed 50 library cards, total number of library checkouts, which includes renewals or those that have come to the library to request materials, to 644. We have added 6 new 1,000 books before kindergarten participants. So all this really shows us that the community needs the library. And we are obviously not providing everything that we were providing before, but we're still working. We were able to add Hoopla. Hoopla is a digital platform that provides electronic books, audiobooks, music, comics, and TV shows. So that's a very good alternative for people that not everybody has Netflix, not everybody has Hulu or Amazon Prime, and maybe they had it, but if they lost their job and they had to cut in expenses, that's an alternative. That little picture of those little ones are our newest library card members. The baby Raimundo is 3 months old, so he got carded. He already has a library card. And so we are doing our story time sessions online. We have been able to provide 7 sessions with a total of 215 toddlers and preschoolers in attendance. Actually, these numbers have increased because it is easier for parents, they don't have to take a shower, they don't have to change them. Many of the kids are eating while they're listening to stories. Maybe they're still in their pajamas. So they and we look very forward to our weekly meetings. We also offer programs for babies. Baby time, we've offered 4 sessions with 64 children in attendance. Another one of our programs is very popular, are the family nights. Our family nights where the whole family is invited to the library, when we offer crafts and games and raffles, and every child gets a free book. So we started thinking, what can we do? How can we continue to provide something? The Dia del Niño was coming up. So we decided to offer a family night at home. It was a total success. We had over 446, if I'm not mistaken, kids register. 300 came in and picked up a packet. So those 304 children, besides doing a craft activity, they receive a free book. We asked them, because we want to continue creating a sense of community. We don't see them, and we don't want them to stop and take a picture with your book the way we used to do it when they were inside the library. So we asked them, share a picture to us, send us a picture, and so that we can post it on our Facebook page if you allow us to. So it was a tremendous response. This is just a few pictures. And I added a quote of this parent that says, thank you, and thank you for all you guys are doing for the kids during these difficult times. I think you're the only city library in the valley that is currently doing things like this. And this is a resident that is not from Calexico. So that makes me very proud of our department. We continue, since we saw that it was very successful. Mother's Day is a very special day, and schools are out. The teachers usually provide a craft activity for the moms, obviously, for the kids to give to the moms as a present. I know that my girls have always brought something home, except this year. So we thought, okay, we'll provide an activity, a craft pickup activity. It didn't include a book. We had over 300 kids sign up. Only 204 came and picked it up. But again, I would consider that a successful program. And we're also planning one for Father's Day. We're all getting ready for that. We don't want to let go of our teens. So teens, again, as I said, are kind of a hard audience to reach and to keep engaged. So hopefully those that came to the program that we offered in early March want to continue reading. So we are using our Zip Books program to try to entice them to, you don't have to come to the library, we take the library to you. So there's a simple form that they have to fill out, and we send them a book home if they don't have a library card. And this is just not for teens, it's for the whole population, all ages. We send them the books through the Zip Books program. Last year we applied to a mental health initiative grant. It provided books, and it provided training for staff, and one of the components is that we had to provide an activity, a program. So we had the very famous now Dalia Pesqueira. She did a presentation on reducing anxiety geared to teens during this pandemic. So it was a live presentation, live Facebook presentation. We had, so far we've had like over 200 views, which I can count as 200 people that would have been able to come to the library, maybe not at the same time, but they're able to watch it afterwards. Again, adult programming continues. The Let's Talk program are now via Zoom. We've had 6 programs so far with 30-40 in attendance, and our book club continues to meet on a monthly basis via Zoom. We have 3 programs with 12 people in attendance. And last but not least, we're getting ready to plan our online summer family reading program. It is an 8-week program. These are the tentative dates. We want to give, June 11, I believe, is the last day of official day for school. So we want to give kids and parents a break from all the new online learning they had to go through. So we're preparing, obviously, we'll see how things, we don't know how things are going to be next month. We hope that everything is kind of back to semi-normal, but in the meantime, we're not going to wait to see what happens. We're going to get ready with an online summer reading, family reading program. So there will be activities that people will be able to come and pick up. Obviously, we're going to promote the reading. We don't want them to go through the summer slide and lose more reading skills. So we're going to offer some incentives for them to continue with the reading habits. And the last slide. all this services and programs that we've been able to provide goes back to staffing once again. We really, really need a custodian, because once we start opening our doors in whatever form, shape, or form that it might look like, we don't know yet. We're really going to need a custodian. We need somebody that is there to help us cleaning. As I said, we lost a reference librarian and executive assistant in the budget, and I believe there was a library technician that is being allocated. I'm being a little bit way too conservative by asking only 2 library assistants, but you know what? If you are able to allow me to bring back the temporary staff once the new fiscal year starts, that will be a blessing for us, because right now with 3 city staff, it will be very hard to continue providing the same service, all the same services that we're providing at the moment. In terms of the building, unfortunately, we have termites again. We had termites 5 years ago outside the building. Now it's inside the building. We're already working with the finance department to find funds to get rid of this problem. The fire alarm is another project that is being worked on with Public Works and the fire department. We're working on getting some sneeze guards to kind of protect your desk. And I think we're going to need some Captain American shields, because I don't know how we're going to do it once we go help people in the computers or take them to the stacks. There's some electrical repairs that need to be done. Some of them are being taken care of as we speak. If possible, we would like to request to resurface the parking lot of the library. It really has a lot of potholes. The Public Works Department has been very kindly kind of fixing them, but they're back. So it seems like you're off-roading when you're driving through the parking lot. The library would be very benefited if we are able to repaint the inside of the library, and upgrade the public restrooms. The public restrooms are, as Ms. Falomir mentioned, they're a problem as well. We keep on getting keep on getting clogged, and so many other issues with them. Are there any questions?
Questions? Thank you. Questions or comments?
The only question that I have is okay, so you are, when people come in you say that the computers are available for them, and of course we have the Wi-Fi. To make copies and that type, are they charged for the copies?
Yes.
Or are they?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we charge 15 cents per copy,
Okay.
which is very, very low. We charge, other places charge 30. They're black and white. I mean, we don't have color copying, but we do charge 15 cents per copy.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No questions? Okay.
We're doing more with less.
Yes.
Yes. Congratulations.
Great programs you have here.
Thank you.
Would you be able to answer what your total budget is? You said that you don't generate revenue.
We don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're one of those departments, so maybe almost the only department that doesn't generate revenue. So according to the preliminary, budget that we received, the total budget for the library is $681,285.
And that comes from
General
The
fund.
general fund.
general fund.
Yes.
Excuse me.
The grants that we receive are in a separate fund, and they're not part of this.
Okay. And you do receive grants.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
city's administration proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st to 2020 to June 30th, 2021. And do you have the fifth one? Do you have,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll ask right now.
welcome, Mr. Dale.
Honorable Mayor, thank you. We did skip number 2, Economic and Development Director Figueroa has a presentation as well. Would you want it now or?
No, let's have you, and then we'll have it
Okay.
again.
Can you? Yeah. Thank you. Sure. Council, Mayor, thank you for the time. I can't express enough how proud I am of the department heads, the professional presentations they're making, the requests they're making. I know there's more requests than there is resources to fill them. But I might have some solution to that later on in this presentation that we can do one-time expenses. But we know obviously that we are a city that's still struggling to get out of a $4 million debt that was incurred in 2 years, overspending $2 million successive years. And so we're getting there. That's the great news, and you heard that from our finance director. We are in the green as of this year, even though all these things are happening and the economy is falling apart around our ears. This city is standing strong because of the storms we've been weathering over the past 3 years, made us stronger. For us, this is just another storm. So, very proud, I can't express it enough, of what I've seen today, what I saw the last meeting of the department heads presenting to you. We didn't have this chance to do this last year. I'm grateful that we have the time to do this, and that has a lot to do with our finance department getting these things prepared in time. And I'm just very happy to be a part and to see the growth that I have seen in this city in the past 3 years. It's just been phenomenal, and it has a lot to do with this council and your leadership and what you're providing for this city. So thank you. So I would like to go into my first slide, and I'll just preface the reason there is a slide here to let you know what is included with the city manager's department. Last year, in the last year's budget, we had a comment from one of the members of the public and about the salaries and benefits that were in the city manager's division, which were upwards of, in this same framework, about $800,000, I want to say, last year. It did not include the assistant city manager last year. So the salaries and benefits are for the city manager's division are over $912,000. The comment we received last year was, wow, city manager really makes $900,000, that's great. And I'd like to say that's the case, but that's truly not the case. It's split up between actually you see them there, 6 members, city manager, assistant city manager's executive assistant, the city clerk, human resources, and the human resources technician. So all the salaries and benefits are spread out between those 6 positions. And I would like to emphasize that includes the benefits. I think the salaries were upwards of $500,000, something like that, spread out between the 6. But when you add the benefits, it includes more, so that's what happens. So I just want to be very clear on this slide because it was a comment last year.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the city manager's division, as I was mentioning, obviously the city manager's office. Every day we carry out the policies of you, the city council, and the mayor. We manage the day-to-day operations of the city. We ensure the municipal services are delivered. And this again goes back to our mission statement, efficiently, effective and efficient. And to me, the most important word in that whole thing is the first one we say, together. Because without this unity that we kind of have right now, we wouldn't be making this progress. So together, we're making this progress. So we're here to efficiently serve the public and protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents, and that's why we've been so proactive with regard to the current crisis that we're having right now. We also include in the city manager's division, human resources included. That provides centralized personnel and risk management services. It enhances employees' professional and personal growth and promotes a healthy and productive work environment. That is the goal of human resources. Next. So also one of the great things I thought that happened in the past year was that we now have an official city clerk. For many years the title was held by an executive assistant, and so now I'm very proud to say we have a city clerk with a contract in place, and thank you for that. So the city clerk, although the city clerk was originally reporting directly to the council, at some point the council decided that the city clerk would go ahead and report to the city manager. City clerk does a lot of things. Responds to requests for information, Public Records Act, local compliance. She's a local compliance officer for federal, state, and local statutes. And she is the official custodian of records for the city of Calexico. Does an amazing job. Does an amazing job, and again, we are proud of her as well. Go ahead. Just a couple of slides here to show some of the things and remind some of the great things that happened as a result of this one particular Oktoberfest 2019. I give the entire credit to our assistant city manager in this regard. What a great, if you did attend this thing, I was just amazed at the number of people that came to this and just enjoyed, and was a great event. I don't know that the city of Calexico had seen an event like this. This was one of the second annual, and it increased. And I don't know if it'll happen this year due to the current circumstances, but what an amazing event. Next. So a couple of years ago, we took over the Christmas parade. At that time, our mayor, Councilman now Pacheco, was lead in that effort. He was able to do a lot of fundraising, walk door to door. I was amazed with how much money they raised. They actually raised more than what it cost us to provide that parade, and that money carried over to the next year, which was in 2019. And so it's just growing every year. So the first year we did it with Councilman Pacheco, the second year now, and now I would expect this year to be even greater than the last 2 years. So it's just getting better and better. So on the human resources side, 90 people processed live scans, April 2019 to January 2020, including volunteers, temps, new hires. We had 12 full-time / part-time employees hired, and this is a pictures of in the fire department of our new firefighters. We're very proud that they passed all their probations. It takes a year, full 12 months to go through that process, and they held out, they made it, and they did a great job. Okay, so I would say this is the most important slide on this. Now I've listened, and I think we have one more presentation for you that a number of our department heads are asking for additional funds for sometimes one-time expenses. Now, I don't want to get a whole lot into it, but we are working on the sale of certain leases that the city has right now. It appears right now, we already have the bids come back, and it appears if council approves one of the bidders that we will probably be receiving north of $1 million in general fund revenues. Again, it's one-time revenues, so we don't want to program recurring expenses on this. But as you saw from Public Works, as you've seen from police department, fire department, airport, all those things, all those departments, library, and we all, and City Hall needs things. maybe if council decides that's the case, the way they want to go, the way you want to go, maybe we take a portion of those funds and we offset these needs here that I've got listed on here, and we can pay for some of these one-time expenses that are being requested by our department heads. Councilman Pacheco, did you have a comment? Okay. So now, if that's what's determined to be done, I would certainly recommend that we keep the greater proportion of those funds for our reserves. Now, obviously, we've been trying for the past 3 years to build our reserves. Reserves are super, super important, as we're seeing right now. Things happen where you're not expecting, and you got to have money in the bank to be able to pay for expenses you weren't expecting. And that's what reserves are for. There's a lot of opinions on how much reserves should be. It should be anywhere from, in my opinion, anywhere from 25% of what you use a year to 50%. That means from $4 million to $8 million in reserves should be in the accounts. Now, does every city have that? Some do, some don't. We're not there yet. We projected to be a little bit less than $1 million at the end of this year. So we still have a ways to go to build at least to $4 million where we should be at a minimum in terms of our reserves. However, there are certain needs, immediate needs for capital expenses that we should consider to use some of that money if that does happen for some of these items that I have on the screen here. Now, these are just a smattering, probably some of the more important ones, right? But what we'll need to do if this is the direction council would like to go is probably prioritize some of these things, some of these requests that we have on here, and then determine. Well, I guess the first thing we want to do is determine how much of that money, if we do get it, of that one-time money, how much do you want to allocate for one-time expenses that have been requested by the department heads? I would advocate to use some of that money, a portion, whatever that percentage that you decide should be, to fund some of these. These are things that I think are super important. It's things that we've been delaying for at least a few years that I've been here, that are needed to make this city and run correctly and give our residents the best that we can possibly give them in terms of service. So that really is the presentation. I can go through all of these things. I'm sure that we're probably going to end up doing that if that's the direction that council wishes to go in terms of spending some of these one-time funds. And we'll have to prioritize somehow the most important things and go from there.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see. Like, for instance, your termites. Wow, that's a priority.
Mm-hmm. There's some things here that are pressing really hard, really bad, like really a real need that we just can't. Actually, we'll have to do it regardless or not. somehow find the funds somehow to do it.
Okay.
Any more comments or questions?
No, thank you.
Councilman Pacheco?
No, I think we have a list of to-do
Yes.
if we go the route and see how much, if this were to come into place, then we can have a discussion.
And I know I echo and I understand the frustrations of our department heads because they're unable to give the services that they want to give, and they can't do it because of the resources that they have. And I understand it, I feel it. So we're trying to get back to that point, and at some point we will be there where the revenues will be able to pay for these things on a daily basis, but we're not quite there yet.
Thank you.
But we will get there.
Any questions?
No. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And your leadership.
Yes, thank you.
Can we take a little break here, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah,
We've had
if you want
straight presentation, and I know that we're gonna have to tell Mr. Figueroa to take a little break.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
5-minute break.
All righty.
One more to go. Let me
afternoon,
read
Mayor.
this. We have presentation by Assistant City Manager and Community Economic Development Director Figueroa on Community and Economic Development and Development Services Department's proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. Welcome, Mr. Figueroa.
Thank you. It's pretty much a complement of the presentation that our city manager gave.
Okay.
And the reason that, as you know, given the structure right now in the city, there are some vacancies in some department head level positions. So I've been tasked to oversee and provide support to other departments. So I want to point that out. And with that said, I'll start by talking first about the Community and Economic Development Department. We're a big team of 3. We have Ms. Ronnie Luna as our housing specialist, Ms. Lorena Minor as our housing rehabilitation inspector. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is that we've been able over the course of the past 3 years to get the city back up when it comes to the housing program by mending relationships with state agencies. So that has prompted us, as I've been sharing with you in council meetings, to access programs and additional monies that we can compete for now.
Wow, great.
Can you help me, please? There we go. So when Armando Villa was here, he created this department. He merged the economic development component to the department. And one of the first things that we had to decipher and determine was what was going to be that was going to be driving Calexico's economy. So there are certain things that were pointed out. Amongst them, making sure that we improve our municipal regulations when it comes to providing a permit, a service to a business, facilitate the process, making sure that we don't drop the ball on economic development opportunities that exist in the form of grants. Ms. Falomir did a good job in talking about how grant writing is something that the city performs through different departments. And this is no different to department heads here. Ms. Legaspi as well. I mean, every department does pretty much their own grant writing. One of the other things that we've also determined or prioritized as a need was addressing our downtown. This city council approved a downtown action plan that later on was complemented with resources from a state program, going back to my comment about making sure that we tie opportunities to priorities that we have here in the city. One of the other things that I do want to point out is that we've been very careful in making sure that we don't let opportunities pass by when it comes to, for example, resources for other projects such as the New River. I mean, we've talked about it. We had a city council meeting last night. I briefed you folks on it, and I have something to share on that when I get to that piece of my presentation. This is the element, the backbone of how it is that the department embarked on providing economic development services merged with the housing program that the city offers. And that's pretty much recognizing, assessing, partnering, working, and building. Those are the 5 elements for which we've built our work around. And slowly but surely, these elements have become the drivers of us being able to be successful in achieving the goals that we've set forth. One of the biggest things that I credit a lot of the recent success in beginning to have development opportunities. And these development opportunities fall along the lines of various industries, not only one. And that's putting together everything Calexico has to offer in one piece of document. This council approved the resources for us to create a city prospectus, a guide that can pretty much tell anyone that wants to invest in a border community what we are about, what programs or incentives we offer. In this case, our Opportunity Zone program is one of them. How we also have a foreign trade zone program that we fall under the county umbrella, in which the city pays its dividends every year to be part of it. How we have a Calexico International Airport that we need to showcase, because that is one of the biggest things that we have to offer. We need to put the reflectors on it so it can drive opportunities. Obviously, we have a very robust education system. We have not only the Calexico Unified School District taking care of the education at an early level for our younger generations, but we also have San Diego State University providing higher education as well here in our city. One of the things that I pride myself on, with the help of my department staff and other department heads, is the fact that we received a letter, as it's up there on the presentation, in February of 2019, in which we were granted once again monies to restart our loan program for our community, our first-time homebuyer program and our home rehabilitation. Each of those elements will receive $250,000 for a total of $500,000 that we will once again begin to offer to those that are most in need in our city, those that cannot go to a financial institution and obtain a loan. We're going to be able to do that once again. As a matter of fact, this week I was contacted by HCD, the Housing and Community Development Department, who issued the grant to us, letting us know that unfortunately, due to the pandemic, a lot of the programs have been pushed back, but we're looking forward within the next 2 months to be recipients of the money so we can begin the program. That's one of the biggest reasons why we determined that it was necessary to have a housing inspector in our division, which we now have, and it's going to be a vital element as we implement this program. So I'm happy to share that after 3 years, a little over 3 years of not being recipients of these funds, we were able once again to not only be eligible, compete, but succeed in getting the monies. I touched on our downtown action plan. In the fall of 2019, this council approved all the elements of the downtown action plan. As a result of that, our police department began to implement already some of the elements of the plan. One of these elements is the taxi cab relocation that was done. One of the biggest needs for doing this was also addressing the fact of the illegal transportation services that the raiteros do on First Street there in downtown. So that is something that's already in the works. Also making sure that we incorporated the Rockwood Plaza Promenade, which is going to, in my humble opinion, going to change the dynamic of downtown and turn it into what we need to be offering our community and our visitors in the 21st century. I feel these are the things that are going to help us not only be able to beautify and address the aesthetics of downtown, which, as we know, this council has championed and has dedicated resources for. So this is a big step also. This is an image of what we are expecting to have Rockwood Plaza Promenade look once it's fully operational. Lily Falomir, our Public Works Manager, and myself have been working with the state of California through the agency that issued the grant to make sure that we are on top of the implementation. We are waiting right now to be designated the consultant that's going to work with us to develop this project. So that's going to be coming, and we'll be providing you updates throughout the course of this year as more information becomes available. One of the other things that we had to pretty much look and build from the ground up was making sure that this is something that our city manager championed, and that is getting our service area plan up to date. It had been outdated for a number of years. This was approved by LAFCO. This is also a big step when it comes to economic development opportunities, and making sure that we can show that we know the services that we need to offer per the population that we have. One of the biggest things also is having In our Development Services Department, an in-house planning consultant, he has assisted in making sure that our planning code is up to date. I'm happy to share too that through the SB2 planning grant, we were able to secure $160,000 through an over-the-counter grant. Over-the-counter grant means simply submitting a suitable application that has a specific purpose that's reasonable in the eyes of the states to fund. So that we were able to receive those funds, and we're going to invest those into updating our general plan in order to stay up to date with the state of California and our own needs here locally. We've began to develop and use what we call citywide user-friendly documents, things that we can just give out to either a prospective developer, resident, anyone that wants to come to town. We're streamlining a lot of the way we communicate the business and how we do it here in the city. So that's been extremely helpful as well. One of the things that I touched on also is that we were also able to, as part of the last general election, include our TOT tax, which is now something which was a 2% increase, which now our finance department is beginning to see the benefits of that, because our hotels here in the city have begun to pay that additional TOT 2%, which obviously is suitable to our general fund, and it goes along with what we're trying to do, which is have numbers that reflect our growth or our upward trend when it comes to building our reserves. Credit this next slide to our Public Works Manager, Ms. Lily Falomir. She was instrumental in helping us secure the monies through the California Department of Parks and Recreation. For, as we know, we got the maximum amount for Heber Park. Heber Park right now is not in the, is not, we need to say it as it is. It's not in good condition. It's to some extent next to a blighted area, which was where the old armory building was. So this definitely is not only going to bring oxygen to that part of the city, but it's going to put a state-of-the-art facility in Calexico, something that we've heard our community loud and clear tell us, more green areas, more parks were. This is a perfect example of something that not only was an idea at some point, but now it's a reality, because we're going to see it get built, and that's great news to our community. The New River Improvement Project, that the picture right there to the right, the purpose or the reason why I chose that picture is because those are the representatives for Senator Feinstein. And the gentleman right there to the right, that's Mr. Phil Rosentrader, the executive director of the Salt and Sea Authority. We've been getting a lot of interest in learning about what we're doing here in California when it comes to the New River through the New River Improvement Strategic Plan. It's something it's a plan that's inclusive, that addresses all the impairments and all the remediation projects that are needed from the border all the way to the Salton Sea. So we've been able to not only secure money, but today I was part of a subcommittee hearing for which last night City Council approved a support letter. And we received positive remarks from the subcommittee chairman, Mr. Robert Bloom. What we're trying to accomplish here is make sure that the $18 million of general fund money that Governor Newsom has kept in the budget stays there once the final budget is approved for fiscal year 2020, 2021. The chances are high. It's not going to be a done deal until the budget gets approved, but we've already got past some of the significant obstacles that were going to be in the way. If we're able to do this, the total amount of money will be $28 million. That's going to pay for the 3 infrastructure components where the 2nd Street Bridge here in Calexico is. Those 3 projects are identified on the Calexico Reach as part of the whole plan. This morning also I had the opportunity to give a presentation to the Salt and Sea Authority. Salt and Sea Authority is made up of members from the Imperial County Board of Supervisors, the Imperial Irrigation District, through their directors, the Coachella Valley Water District, and the counterparts also from Coachella's River, from the Riverside County Board of Supervisors. And I gave a comprehensive presentation, and everybody bought into it. Right now, I can share with you that in my years of being involved in this project, the support that we have is unprecedented. It's never been seen. I've never seen it, because we're now including other members from other counties, and they're buying in. So sooner than later, we're finally going to see those projects taken care of. Ms. Falomir is also assisting in making sure that our Parkway project work continues. We're going to be, hopefully very soon, being able to select who is the best bidder to begin construction of Phase 1B. Construction of Phase 1B of the Parkway. I want to highlight the partners. We can't do this alone. As a department head, as city staff, we have others that we need to rely on. That is the only way we can get things done in a part of the state where the political cloud is not as big as in other areas. So we rely on partners, as you can see right there, partners that can help us make things happen. That's the name of the strategy: networking, partnering, as I highlighted in my initial slides. Let's jump to the development services side, which is right now a department that I get to oversee, given the fact that there was a retirement on June 30th of last year. And in the time being, like I mentioned, we brought in our in-house consultant, Mr. Velasco. Our team is made up of Mr. Chuck Cortez, our building inspector, Ms. Silva, our administrative assistant, Ms. Soto, and Mr. Vasquez as our code enforcement officers. Some numbers from the Development Services Department. This is a summary in dollar amounts of the building permits, electrical permits, mechanical permits, plumbing permits, and building plan check fees that we've done from June 1st through April 3rd. So within this amount of time, that is the money that's been generated in revenue. To the bottom, you'll see the total number of permits, both for residential and commercial, that have been issued here in the city. If we do a comparison of these numbers in that period of time compared to previous years, we are growing the numbers, which is a good sign of our local economy and those that wish to come and develop in our city. So some of the things that I do want to highlight is how, like I previously mentioned, when it comes to the planning and building divisions, there's been the opportunity to develop new ways of communicating the services that we offer. That's made it easier for us to use our website also as a tool to disseminate this information. When it comes to some of the major developments over the course of this year, we have over 137 units of new units that have been added of affordable housing. 60 out of those 137 are affordable housing units, but in total, these are new housing opportunities that have been generated in the city. There's a total valuation of $9.5 million when it comes to these projects. The other things is that we've been staying with whatever the state of California is enforcing. And one of the things that we've been looking at is making sure that when it comes to our ADUs, our accessory dwelling units, we entitle those in a way that's consistent with what the state of California is expecting from us. Some of the major commercial and industrial projects that we've shared with you, that if we bring them together, they're about 12 projects. If we add their value, it's about $5.3 million. We've talked about the new FedEx distribution center. We've talked about the Mega Park Jasper Crossing project for the north part of town. We've been also looking at Las Palmas Center, which is looking to do a complete renovation to the existing swap meet, which is obviously good for our community. We also were some of you were able to attend the grand opening of Treasure Hunt. I want to share an update with you on that. The owners are looking right now at doing a complete overhaul to the actual property, which is going to be enticing to the clients, and it's going to be consistent once we begin to reopen businesses as part of the recovery plan that we're following through the Public Health Department. Quick slide here, Dollar General opened. I mentioned FedEx. On top of that, these are some of the specific housing projects that have been built right now. We're also looking at a new AM/PM gas station / car wash over here by Grand Plaza. So there are projects, like I mentioned, that are in the works, not only on the construction phase, but also on the development phase. couple of pictures of inspections that get done by our department, by our building inspector, by Mr. Cortez in the city. And let's get to some of the wish lists that everybody has been able to ask of you. I want to point out something. I'm not specific in terms of the needs being or the request being for this coming fiscal year. That's why I just left it as future personnel needs, because this is going to vary based on different situations, and I'm going to explain why. When it comes to the Community and Economic Development Services Department, there is a need for an economic development specialist. We had been using a part-time staffer that was brought on board through one of the temp agencies that the city services. We were able to see the benefit. I wanted to gauge and see the benefit of having someone at that capacity doing that work, and there's a benefit to it. Obviously, the other thing that I'm looking at is depending on the shift as to where our budget goes and how much money we have available. There could be the possibility of having an admin assistant for the department or an executive assistant that could serve a dual role for both the Economic Development Services Department and the Development Services Department. But then again, these are hypotheticals. If you ask me what the needs are, these are the needs based on different scenarios, depending on how things unfold, like I'm sharing with you. And a lot of these things are going to be driven based on the revenues that can get generated by the projects that we're seeing right now coming in the city. On the development services side, obviously, we've been having an open recruitment process for an actual director for the department. It's needed. It's needed. It's a department that's getting more work, and it has to have a face. It has to have leadership on a permanent basis, on a full-time level. So that is something that I want to continue to make sure that you guys keep on your radar. A building official, a building inspector. Again, I'm thinking down the road. I'm thinking down the road the needs because of the development and because of the limitations that we have in staff right now. So with that said, that's the presentation. It covered a lot of elements in a small amount of time, but it's just the proof of the work that staff does, and it paints the picture of where the city is going when it comes to development to increase our revenues.
I have a question. Why is Chuck Cortez still an acting supervisor? I mean, he has been with the city for many, many years, and what's with that?
So his official title is a building inspector. When we had a retirement from the department manager on June 30th of 2019, given that we needed to have a chain of command within the department, that is where he was given the interim tag of supervisor. Right now, we have a recruitment that's open right now. Actually, two. We have the director position, that's an open recruitment, and there's a building official recruitment also. So we expect, depending of how those positions get filled, that we bring the proper leadership within the department. Right now, Mr. Cortez is stepping up and assisting us, given his experience, as you mentioned.
Councilman Pacheco?
No, we're just moving forward is what we're doing. We're moving forward, and that's the good thing. We're adding. It doesn't look, but little by little, we're getting businesses to come in and stay in Calexico, and that's a shot in the arm for us. Job well done.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Figueroa. Before we end here, I would like to, anybody have any parting words?
No.
for the
I think
departments?
we're moving forward, and I'm very excited on all the projects that are coming on board. And I guess it's all going to be up to our finance director. And
Next meeting coming up?
Yes, so I just want to thank all the department heads for presenting on their departments. A lot of the departments didn't have a lot of needs. A lot of them have a lot of needs. In finance, we are aware of that. We know the needs. Unfortunately, we don't have the funds or the revenues to support all of those needs. So we will be adding up the numbers, presenting those to you. Whatever you decide to be added will be added, and funds will be released as we see revenues come in, as it was presented on the proposed budget. We have to be conservative at this time. We are coming in a recession, so it is not recommended that we release all of these funds all at once. We will present the numbers. You will get to decide what goes into this budget and how it'll be released. You'll get to prioritize, and then that's how we will be presenting again first, second, and third quarters amendments, and then it'll be the opportunity for you to decide if we release any of the funds or if we continue waiting on some of these hard decisions. We know the needs. I mean, we are well aware of them, as some of the departments mentioned. There's a lot of building needs. There's a lot of staffing needs. We do recognize all of that. Unfortunately, we don't have the revenues to pay for that just yet. We will be in the future. We are doing much better than expected, but we need to continue doing what we're doing right now. So next special meeting for you to make that decision, hopefully next week, and then from there, if everything stays on track as we expect it to be, we will be presenting a final budget for June 3rd, and if you decide, then at that point we will adopt a budget for 2020-21.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, before we adjourn, I'd just like to thank all the department heads for your great commitment, your very hard work. And we understand that you have pressing and essential needs, and all of you, and we will be as equitable and fair and minded as possible to, within the budget constraints, to address every department. All right? That's what I think that we can at least promise, and we will do. So thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Oh, motion to adjourn, we have to do that. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn
A
this meeting.
second.
So move.
So moved. All right. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. Very good. This meeting is adjourned.